does not burn well.
Like that just
It
seems.
just no.
If I were
There's
to create a worse smell, that would be a good
Yeah,
start.
just burning silicone.
oh,
which would provide plenty of comedic opportunities for all of our characters.
Right.
Oh.
but yeah, no, that's an entirely valid question, and I unfortunately I didn't hit the record button until we were halfway into that discussion. So for context, we were talking about how the rules say that when Cordelia casts a spell or casts a hex, that the personal item that is used to cast the hex from a distance is used up. So since the items in question for Duke Ward are sex toys, what does them being used up constitute?
Right? Like, how does that happen?
Do they magically burn to dust? Or
Well, but like, she has to do something to make that happen, right? And like,
Well,
oh my God, what if she cut up the anal beads into their constituent beads and then use them to cast runes?
God.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Your face, Linda's face.
just wow. Damn, man.
Right?
you know,
It's hilarious. I don't know. This
Yeah,
whole thing is
just-
killing me. I've been thinking about this for like 2-3 weeks or whatever. It's just been killing me.
yes,
Wow.
yeah. I don't know if that particular application is how it's going to go, but I kind of want to save that idea for use later.
Right? And the best part about it is she can't wash it off. Ritualistically, that would be like cleansing it. She's got to use what's there.
This is a good time to educate people about the importance of gloves.
Oh, God, you have to.
I'm just saying, he's a dude. He might not be as fastidious with his things.
Just
Uh-huh.
gross.
Yeah. Well, and
I've lived with enough men to realize how accurate that could be.
yes.
But did they clean their anal toys? Like,
I mean, just cleaning up after themselves in general, much less something like that.
I would think that's one area where you would be motivated to be better about it than the rest of
One
your
would
life.
hope, but I don't know.
Never can tell.
I got so excited when you were in the kitchen and the water was running for a few minutes earlier. I was like, oh, he's doing dishes.
That's so cute.
Oh, I think there might have been a hint in there. So, the spoil sport response to the question of how the sympathetic tokens are consumed by the casting of the hex is that they don't necessarily need to be physically destroyed. It could be interpreted as the imprint of the person gets transferred out of them, and the item itself just becomes a regular old object.
That makes
Which is then we have the hijinks of how do we dispose of this thing?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's plastic. That means it can be recycled, right?
Listen,
We just throw it in somebody's recycling bin.
Just
I
be
found
careful about the
dildo in a
reusing.
Golden Corral restaurant one time.
What was that?
Don't reuse, just recycle.
So let's pull it in. When we last left off, I believe the exact last scene was Caulan handing Cordelia the box full of sex toys, which include the anal beads.
Right.
And we left on a response to that. So at this moment in the timeline, Cordelia and Caulan are in the woods, towards the back of the Ward brothers' estate. It is a frigid, cold night. With I believe there was snow on the ground, and you guys had this choice between walking in the freezing, muddy part of the river or leaving trails in the snow. So you two are in the back, in the woods near the river. Meanwhile, when we last left off, Andy and Frankie were kind of lounging around the front of the estate, preparing to swoop in to cause a distraction if needed. And Craig Johnson had just arrived, and was being invited in by Duke Ward. The other things to lay the context from the last session that jump out to me are that Caulan had encountered some militia members, and managed to get by them by somewhat unknowingly passing himself off as a play toy of Mr. Ward. And the other thing, yeah, it's a very good application of it. And the other big piece of context was that in his break-in to the Ward estate, Caulan was caught on camera, which he might not be aware of.
Right.
But Cordelia was watching the whole time, so she, with her metaphysical eye, might have that information. So yes, where we pick up directly, assuming we pick up directly, is with Frankie and Andy at the front of the estate, and Cordelia and Caulan at the back of the estate. To once again establish, it is a cold night. There is relatively fresh fallen snow that, well, it's not quite fresh. It has that crunch to it, right? Like when you step on it, there's just enough layer of ice on it that it makes a noise as you put your weight down. And those sounds reverberate through the woods, only softened by the sound of running water in the river not far away. The moon is not full, but it is large enough that it's most dramatic for Cordelia and Caulan as the bright moonlight shines through the limbs of the trees. But Frankie and Andy can also, like, from their vantage point, have just an absolutely clear view of the moon as it waxes. And so with that, you guys all have your cell phones, and you can communicate to Frankie and Andy that mission accomplished. So the question is, we know that Cordelia is going to cast the hex, but there's a lot of room that you guys have in terms of establishing where and when and what your respective characters are doing. So I put it on the table. Where are you guys and what are you doing?
Where do you want to cast this?
I mean, I think we probably have a place that we're going to meet up, yeah? Or no?
Yeah.
We're going to all meet up somewhere?
Well, we were at your place.
They're at the front of the estate. Oh, you mean go back to Andy's place?
Yeah.
It's the closest. I don't
Yeah.
know how long before their meeting starts.
Well, he had just showed up, so we don't want to take a lot of time.
Right. So I figured there's probably the best if there's any place inside that's safe for a ritual.
Yeah. Andy's not gonna know a whole lot about whether or not it's safe, but he could definitely like, you know, the house is big enough. There's gonna be some rooms that are far enough away from like the common areas that will have privacy.
Well,
Let's do it.
yeah.
Okay.
We can do it in the greenhouse.
There you go. The smell might not be as noticeable.
There you go. I think it's just part of the composting stuff.
Yeah.
You guys, I am concerned that you think that it's gonna smell that bad. Oh wait, if we burn it.
Right. If
Okay,
you
okay.
Cast
I
it
was
into
gonna
the
say
fire.
this toy is not covered in shit. Like
There's residue.
Okay. So you, when Cordelia and Colin text Andy and Frankie that, actually, what do you text? Do you have a cute code phrase, or is it just a simple, mission accomplished?
Got the stuff. Get out of there.
Okay. And we will go ahead and say that you guys had prearranged to meet at the greenhouse at Andy's mom's. You guys all know where it is, and it's not that far away. It will involve traipsing through the snow and feeling it crunch beneath you, and feeling the cold seep in. I believe I originally described it as the kind of cold that, like, no matter how heavy your jacket is, it gets into your bones. So it's not a pleasant walk back, but
Sure.
it is dreary in all the expected ways. The one bit of drama that I will throw in there, Andy, is that throughout it's very distant and it's not pulling you the way that it was before, but you still hear this primal drum beat coming from within. And you know that at some point you'll need to answer. So this greenhouse, we've established that Andy's mom is a fairly established mover and shaker. That she is not, like the secure elite, the landed elite, the she's still working elite, but she's up there enough so that her estate has a greenhouse. So describe this greenhouse. What how big, small, anything distinctive about it?
I'm gonna say it's probably seems bigger than like you would expect if like if their house had been like built new or something. Like you wouldn't have expected them to afford that, but back to that like part of them not being like super secure, like it's a fixer upper, and like the greenhouse was a luxury at one point that fell into some disrepair, and there's been like minimal attempts to maintenance it or whatever, but it's not on the like list to be like
It's not like an active hobby for mom to go out and
right.
spend time playing in the horticulture.
Yeah, it's not somewhere where she like throws garden parties or anything. She's kind of just bare minimum, like there are no broken panes, and
any plant life in there is just feral, as opposed to
yeah, which like Andy appreciates lately more and more. So anytime that he does spend time over there, not at his dad's, it's either wandering the back end of the property where it's a little more feral, or in the greenhouse.
Okay. Yeah, so it like for the purposes of drama, it almost has that abandoned feel to it. where the hinges are almost like rusted, and the door never quite closes all the way. And none of the glass is broken, but there are some windows that like it obviously could use a little bit of cleaning. And the rows that would have and should be homes to various plants just kind of sit barren, not exposed to the elements literally, but with that same aged quality. Kind of like that old wood that just it's been soaked and dried and soaked and dried just a few too many times over the course of even like decades. So I imagine that since you guys are all coming from the same place, that you would arrive relatively around the same time. As I recall, Andy, at the when you guys were first meeting up, we established that your aunt would be arriving soon. Your mother is still out on probably some sort of business, but your aunt is has a little more, shall we say, free time. So and when she got home, you guys were either had already left or were leaving. Did you manage to get out before she arrived?
I'm gonna say like we kind of like, because we took the back route, like we like went out the back door as like she was like getting herself like, you know, situated, like coming in from like, you know, hanging up the coat and putting the keys down and stuff, and like probably didn't necessarily register anything, you know, like anybody leaving the house, or if she did, it was, you know, kind of a background, like a door shut somewhere. But
Sure. Okay. So how when you guys convene in the greenhouse, what does that look like? Who gets there first? How do you arrive? I mean, I assume you're walking, but you know, do you go to?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm gonna guess probably Colin and Cordelia arrived a little bit before, since we already had started walking back before we texted the others, right? Like maybe just a couple minutes before.
That seems fair. So when Cordelia and Colin arrive, do you go up to the front door, or do you just, you know, you're already walking to the woods, and across the river path?
We'll hop whatever the shortest route is. That's not it. As long as the privacy fence isn't too high, we'll probably just hop it and go straight to.
Yeah, I think we've established.
We're in the mood of thieves, so.
What was that?
You know, we're in the mood of thieves, so it just seems more natural to hop the fence. And
I feel like Colin hops the fence and then Cordelia just pushes open the gate that's not actually like locked.
Rude.
Yes, that seems appropriate.
Yes. If she's the one that's carrying the box of sex toys, hopping over a fence is probably not high on the to-do list.
Right. Well, I'm thinking that like the back end of the property doesn't have like a modern privacy fence so much as just like one of those low like garden stone like half walls and a gate. So yeah, he just pushed open the gate that hasn't been locked or maintained in years, and yeah, like they have more, you know, like secure doors on the house. They're not worried about the property that backs up to nothing but the river.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, though just as an aside, now that we're mentioning this half wall with a unmaintenanced gate, I'm imagining that this gate is much like the things in the greenhouse, has this very aged quality to it, and probably has some sort of carving in it that the camera lingers on for a moment, but is of no known importance to the story as of this moment.
That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
And the couple minutes we wait for you guys, I will be pacing back and forth nervously.
Okay.
A little revved up.
Can I add something on the gate for flavor?
Sure.
Say, like, for the most part, like they're not maintaining the gate. They're not concerned about that maintenance for, you know, regular people, but they do have a like the latch on it is iron.
Oh, okay. And
Like they never like bothered to put anything friendlier, so to speak, on the latch or the handle.
Yeah. So it might be that the latch works quite adequately, but since Andi is the person who goes out that way most frequently, it is quite distinctly left unlatched.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Whatever. So everyone can hop over.
So Cordelia, Caulan is pacing back and forth, and I assume that since you guys are in the conspiratorial thieving mood, that you haven't turned on any lights, and that once again you're just bathed in this soft blue light from the moon. How does, and Cordelia has this, box. What's Cordelia doing while Caulan is pacing back and forth?
Cordelia is kind of gingerly like picking through the box, like looking to see what in there she could possibly use.
Wishing that she had rubber gloves.
She's kind of
There's probably a bag of them in the box.
silently fuming a little bit, like
Couldn't find
irritated
something
about the
normal like
paper.
a hairbrush.
Like, you just sit the fuck down and like chill out, and also irritated that in fact I feel like Cordelia would even say, kind of mumble under her breath, like, when I told you to get something personal, I was talking about like a watch or cufflinks.
Look, these are gonna be way more personal than that, all right? And fucking just as long, it'll be fine as long as your spell works, and we just need to know, we just need to know about these people.
Yeah. So I will say I'm not going to do it tonight because like plot and all that. But I am rather amused at the image of using these items to cast this site text, and then realizing after you've cast it that this particular item was actually more personal to this other person. You are now just spying on a random person.
So the actual boy toy or something,
Right.
some poor call boy somewhere.
Which may or may not have plot relevance, but at that moment would just be completely out of the blue.
Tied up in a corner.
Just tied up in a corner. Okay. He's not doing anything. Where is this guy? Is he in a suitcase?
Oh no.
God.
Oh.
Okay, so we have a shot of Cordelia and Caulan waiting, with Cordelia being somewhat annoyed at the specifics, and Caulan pacing. How do Andi and Frankie arrive?
I'm gonna say we go back by the street because we're not out of place in the neighborhood, and Andy's gonna think that that is less like unusual to the neighbors than him like slipping around the back or something.
Mhm.
Like for all that he wanders the river a lot, like he usually doesn't go up through the property. It's either like he's wandering the neighborhood or he's wandering, back there.
Okay.
So
do you guys go through the house?
yeah, he's gonna kind of do that host thing, try and surreptitiously do that host thing, because like at this point Frankie is familiar enough to his family that they
Frankie
can
could
come in
wander
without
around
fuss.
in the house by herself and nobody would care.
Right. But the like if like any other schoolmates came over, then there might be a little bit of like social posturing on the aunt's part. So Andy's gonna try and figure out a way to like get like hot chocolate or something to like make things slightly more comfortable without cueing the aunt into there being more than two people going out back.
Sure.
Like two like hot chocolate thermoses, but like extra large. So when they go back out, it's, enough for everybody or whatever.
Jeez.
Sure. So what are you afraid of at this moment?
Kind of like the usual like teenage stuff of just being like, and also a little bit of that like we're in sneak mode, so like don't want to interact with anybody. But that teen thing of and his aunt like will put on the social thing, but like she's a bit of a snob. She's not super pleasant to be around, and so and that whole thing with the criticizing his wardrobe, like yeah, he just basically got a lot of things going on, plus the like teenage things going on, plus the extra flavor of we're on Mission Impossible.
Sure. Okay.
Like, and he knows that they're waiting, so he also doesn't want to like have to explain too much. He just wants to go, like get the stuff. And
Sure. Well, the good news is you get to mark experience.
fun.
The less good news, and again, I'm gonna jump in with some descriptions, and we can workshop this a little. But the way that I picture it, that best encapsulates the fact that you got a 3 on the die with a -1.
Oh no.
Is that like that your aunt is home, and you come into the house, and she's I assume this is like at least a 2-story house. It has enough grandiosity for that. And she's not on the first floor. So she must be upstairs, perhaps getting ready for an early bedtime, or sitting down and reading a book in her room, or she's just not there. And so you're able to go to the kitchen and start preparing, like getting this hot chocolate together, and maybe grabbing some other snacks. Do you yell out to let her know that you're home?
No, like they're not that invested, and also like if they are gonna like let each other know anything's going on, they're not that informal.
Sure.
Like there's some like that whole thing of like, since they're up and coming, there's some aspirations to be
Proper.
right, which obviously Andy is definitely not invested in. And Frankie's probably not going to care about either.
So and my impression is that your mom is rather the breadwinner of this grouping, and so your aunt's main contribution to this is being the one who is the most particular about the social etiquette.
Yes.
Whether or not that is an equitable contribution is debatable. So you don't announce your presence, but you start getting this material ready, and start heading for the back to meet up with Cordelia and Caulan. And it's at that moment that your aunt starts walking down the stairs. Like I said, she was getting ready for an early night, and she has a romance novel in one hand and a cup of tea in the other. And it's not uncommon for her. You just at a glance, you kind of understand that she's going to go sit in the den and wait up for your mom to come home, and they can gossip a little bit. And in the interim, she'll
Read porn.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry, it's funny that like romance novels are considered to be something other than porn, and so it amuses me.
It's bad porn.
So she comes down the stairs, and like you said, seeing Frankie there is not that big of a surprise, and so there's not anything terribly off-putting about Frankie seeing her as casually as all that. This is, even in the socially acceptable range of things, this is, what happens when you visit somebody's house that you're familiar with at this hour. But she's standing there just a couple of steps from the base, or from the floor, as you are heading out the back door, and she has just enough of a clear shot. She can see exactly what size of hot chocolate you have fixed, and exactly how much stackage you have grabbed. And she gives you a piercing look and glances, like that she has seen this. And having guests, are we?
No, it was just a really long walk, and we already had dinner. Like, I got a sweet tooth today.
She takes a slow, consciously slow sip of her tea. And you can tell that she is not sold on the explanation.
Eyebrow.
Right.
Okay, actually, I'm wondering if I shouldn't have gone with that line, because Andi doesn't like lies.
Oh, yes.
I think he's just gonna be like, "Oh, it's a study session."
Is that
Yeah.
not also? Oh, I guess
Well,
it's
we
not.
are studying.
We are studying.
Yeah.
Definitely studying something.
Good. It's good.
Yeah. Which then the question is, why is a study session in the greenhouse? But
Right, and her follow-up to that is, outside at this hour in this weather, you are a rather peculiar young man.
I think at that point, Andy's just kind of gonna flex that, like, look down at their kilt and their sparkly nail polish, and look back up and be like, "Yeah, well, you knew that already."
Sure. As I presume that that's good enough for the end of that particular scene. But I will note that as you leave, as you go out the back door, you know that rather than going to the den, she has walked to the kitchen and is looking out the
You're
back
out the
window.
What's going on out there?
And
Yeah.
for the foreseeable future, will simply be drinking her tea, not reading her book, and just watching the greenhouse.
The good news is that the glass is old enough. Some of the panes are still like warped, leaded stuff, so she's probably not going to be able to see very clearly that far back into a dark property. But the bad news is it's still glass.
Okay, so let's see. With that having been established, you have a clear shot to get to the greenhouse and everybody to meet up. So how does that play out? Like I assume that the next scene is you guys are all standing around, unless you have something particularly dramatic that you want to do for your initial arrival.
Nah, just gonna pass out the hot chocolate and then, what the hell?
Oh, you guys, Frankie and Andy were informed that the material had been gathered, but not the specifics.
Right. Like it turns on the flashlight on the phone and it's like, this is
in person that's not as personal as you're gonna get.
Well, given that Andy and Ricky have spent their entire summer critiquing porn,
I'm like,
well, you're not wrong.
Frankie is definitely going to be perusing through the items in the box.
Oh, and without nearly as much of the same kind of understanding of conventional boundaries and.
Oh yeah, no. Kind of.
Andy's not going to be quite on that level of handling them, but Andy's also just kind of going to be you get the feeling that there's some cataloging and a vague vaguely impressed, so some record keeping that's not for the project going on.
Frankie, as you're investigating, the one shot that I want of that, because the camera's going to capture this kind of oblivious curiosity. You're holding a vibrator and unknowingly turn it on, and so it just starts buzzing in your hand.
Does it light up? Do we have to worry about this particular thing being seen from the back of the house?
And actually, that is a question. How, Andy had described pulling out their phone for a flashlight. What light source are you guys using for your study session?
I'm gonna say Andy has spent enough time out there to have amassed a collection of candles and matches.
Okay.
Maybe some lanterns.
So once beyond turning on initially to find the matches, we can.
Sure. Okay. So our next shot would be of all the candles have been
So
lit.
perusing sex toys by candlelight.
Yep.
Yes. So Cordelia, what does this ritual look like for you? We've said in the past that you do free writing to get the specifics. But what preparation of the space do you do? Describe for me the scene. You are the center of attention right now.
Sure. So Cordelia is gonna have her little leather journal and pen out and ready to go, and light some candles, put the candles around. I'm gonna say first of all, Cordelia is going to ask Caulan, all right, McGruff, which one of these items was the most personally acquainted with our guy?
How should I? I mean, I haven't met the guy, so I'm not 100% sure which one is his smell, but that one's the smelliest, and
Okay,
I will point to the anal beads.
great. So,
I hear they're hard to keep clean.
so she'll set those aside, and then I feel like she's gonna pull out some nipple clamps and say, "Hey, Caulan, take your shirt off."
What?
Listen, this is ritual magic. Do you want to cast back?
Fuck. Fine. Fucking god damn it. And him will. But, like, he's been pacing and nervous about this whole time, and he will slam the hot chocolate container down and take his shirt off and toss it to you, and like hands over his nipples cold, cold ass fucking. I guess it's not super cold because it's a whatever room,
A
right?
greenhouse.
Greenhouse.
It's still
Yeah.
Greenhouse. And there's
Still,
It'd be better than outside, but it's not great.
yeah, and just stand there cold, hands like, wait, on my nipples? I feel like a fucking idiot. All right, fuck it. I don't know what's going. All right, and then like we'll walk up. God, this is gonna hurt.
a very important part of the ritual.
It's extremely important.
All right, do it then.
Frankie
And-
does this.
So Cordelia will sit down.
Wait, did she clamp the nipples on? Nipple clamps on?
Recording it till somebody notices.
Caulan has the nipple clamps on.
Right, you were saying that she was gonna, but
Oh,
she
yes.
does.
Yeah.
Ah, motherfucker! Ah, God damn it!
Caulan is assisting with the ritual by
Not that much in the movie.
wearing the nipple clamps. And Cordelia sits down,
Shit about this.
cross-legged on the floor, and she's gonna reach into her pocket, pull out a pre-rolled joint that she's got, light it with one of the candles, and take a deep inhale, and then she'll put it out, and then she will
Put out the candle or the joint?
the joint. And then she'll start her hex casting. I guess she's just gonna hold the anal beads and do it. And then she's got the pen and the notebook.
Sure.
She have to touch her forehead or anything?
No.
No.
And
Okay.
absolutely she's fucking with you.
Right.
Okay.
He's just pacing back and forth, waiting for his nipple clamps to become important. Just pretty sure she's fucking with him, but he's like, you can't. I mean, you can't call her blob.
So how did I roll?
Listen, shivering.
You rolled you have a +2 dark, so a 5.
Yeah. Oh no. That's not good.
No,
Yeah,
not
we have more.
So
so
laughing at me pacing back and forth instead of finishing her ritual.
Andy is torn between like Yas Queen vibes and like trying to actually observe what's going on with the spell casting because it's interesting.
I assume I'm gonna mark experience. That was a 5.
yeah, you get to mark experience on that.
Okay.
So yeah, that puts us in an interesting conundrum. You have let's see. I'm curious. There are a number of ways we can play this. You go into your trance and you start writing notes. And there's something about it that seems off. Like there is some sort of disturbance or something interfering. It's like not exactly like watching a TV that has poor reception. It's more like trying to listen in on a faint conversation when there's blowing wind and all this ambient noise going on. And you haven't really experienced this before. Like this specific kind of interference is fairly new to you. And it feels like there is a degree of intentionality to it.
Like they know I'm.
Well, I mean, their last name is Ward.
Yeah.
Clever
So
GM.
you get the impression that there is that there is magical protection around the Ward estate.
Okay.
And as you try to reach out over the distance, you just start butting up against that. And if you stick with it, you're going to be able to capture glimpses of things, but it's going to be roughly as informative as, like trying to watch those channels that you don't actually get. And just there's hints of things, but you won't get the concrete information, at least not from this distance.
So, do I need to go back?
We don't know any of this information. Only
Oh.
you know this information.
Okay.
And the two obvious choices in front of you, one is go with these vague impressions and maybe you can make sense of them. The other being, yeah, you gotta get closer.
Okay. So can I come out of my like trance thing or whatever?
Yes.
I do that now? Okay. So guys, I can't do it from here. This isn't working.
Well, then take these fucking back to my shirt. Yeah. Fuck. How do people do that? It doesn't even seem like it just hurts. It's just painful.
All right.
Fuck.
Okay.
Do
Listen,
that.
this is serious.
Yeah, I've been serious this whole time. Jesus.
Well, maybe like he's not close enough to work as a conduit, so like as good as an amplifier.
All right, so let's go.
There's obviously some magical protection. I'm not going to be able to do this from here. So
Then let's get back into the state. The state's big, and we can sneak into the back and do it from there.
Actually, I will put one other option on the table. I will, if you want to use up all of the sex toys, you can try again.
use it. Oh, okay. So just
Let's do that
dump the
first,
box.
and then
Like,
Fuck it. I might. Yeah. I might as well.
okay. So the combined impact of these personal
Give me
items.
those-
Hey, you fucking have them. Keep them. I don't want them. Fuck.
can Andy actually be like, hey, hand me one of those. Like, let's keep one back as a spare. Like,
Or have
like
to
if
use
we
them all.
use up everything else because it's small enough. because I'm thinking the other thing that we could do as a backup is Andy now has Call on the Void or something like that. Beyond the Veil.
Beyond the Veil, yeah. So you can ask the Fairy King for information.
Yes.
I wonder if anybody's ever given the Fairy King sex toys before.
Right?
That would be a good gift to pass on.
I bet it's happened.
Well, and at least this will like Andy's like looking at like at least this is an iron or copper.
Definite improvement over the last offering.
Right.
Okay.
I wonder if they get him used sex toys though. Like, do you think that's a common gift? Like,
I mean, it depends on whether or not you're going to teach them how to use it when you give it.
There's not much else you can do with your old sex toys. Like, you might as well
give them to
give them
fairies.
to fairy. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like depending on the design of the nipple clamps, those are actually things that could probably be sanitized. So not the worst thing to.
And just worn as jewelry, just a body part or whatever.
Really painful.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable jewelry.
Okay. So you're going to go.
You are making a lot of bold statements.
Did you mark experience on that one, Cordelia?
Yes, I did, and that was 5 experience.
Okay. We can usually I would say handling the level up later on.
Yeah.
But Caulan's level up last time ended up being really like plot worthy. So do you know like offhand what you want to do for your level up?
So I can take any of these. I can only take it once, right?
Yeah, there should be a list of level up options. And you can take each of those once.
So I want to do the one that takes all the remaining hexes.
Okay, let me just a sec.
Oh, my legs. Oh, fuck.
Oh my god, I forgot about the baklava.
Okay. Cool. So you have gained a that works. Okay.
Homemade baklava or store-bought?
N and
N
J's.
and J's.
Oh, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Well,
It should.
Now I'm sad because I love baklava. And I do not know.
I don't care. So if you want to share half of that,
Sure.
cool.
Oh, fuck.
It's all baklava.
Okay.
That's the thing. It's all baklava to me.
So what you said that you're gonna set one item aside. What one item is being set aside?
I think you set a nipple clamp aside, didn't you?
Yeah, because it's small, it's easily transportable, and
Okay.
you know, the
All
like
right.
probably one of the cleaner items.
Yes. Okay.
Without
So-
necessarily, depending on how emotionally invested he was in that kink, without necessarily being any less personal.
Yes. Okay. Oh. Okay, Cordelia. You have an 11 on the die, plus
Nice.
2. So you cast this watching spell, the scrying spell, like your mother would, or your grandmother would have been disappointed in your first failure. And with that in mind, that honed focus of, no, you can do this. And you are taking no chances. You are using all of the ammo available for a magical just barrage. And bam, you've got it. Whatever.
Yeah, you're not gonna get me out.
Whatever magical protections are around the ward estate, you're able to effectively, like, kind of the magical equivalent of tuning them out, right? Like, you're able to change your frequency so that the interference just slides away and you're able to get a clear image. Which takes us to the vision. And actually, before I begin with that, what are the rest of you doing as Cordelia is casting the spell?
Pacing.
Pacing?
Rubbing your sore nipples.
I did that already. Now I just want to leave them the fuck alone.
What are Frankie and Andy up to? Like, you have Cordelia going into a trance by candlelight, and you have Caulan pacing back and forth with a degree of apprehension and sore nipples. What do Frankie and Andy do?
I think, like, Andy's kind of gonna look back at the house. Since they have enough candles lit, like that thing where, like, if you're in light and you have something dark and then you have something light in between, you can't see as well through it. He's gonna know that isn't gonna be quite as distinct, but he's still gonna be like looking back to see if his aunt is still silhouetted back there, or if his mom is like in there with her.
Yep. Your aunt is, as near as you can tell, still drinking tea. She's in the kitchen now, so she has access to more. But there is something about the fact that she is still paying attention to you guys that is a little disconcerting. This is not just a casual attention that she is sending your way.
Yeah. Well, and he is also like, we have a little bit of protection as far as her knowing like explicitly what we're doing, but with that distance and the lighting thing, but also like the tables and the shelving if we're sitting on the ground, or if like Cordelia's sitting on the ground doing this. But yeah, okay, Andy's concerned, but he's not gonna let on that he's concerned, like, but yeah, he's just gonna, since like there's, he's just gonna like raise the chocolate thermos and
Sure.
turn back around.
What's Frankie doing during the ritual?
Frankie is Googling
Porn.
nipple
Missed
clamps,
something with that.
use of.
What's Frankie doing?
Googling on the use of proper usage of nipple clamps.
She's watching Pornhub videos. Cartoons.
Okay.
Pornhub has a pretty like good
They have-
selection of how-to videos.
They have some instructional videos.
I bet.
Mhm.
I was 12 years old.
And he's gonna like peek over her shoulder and be like, oh, that's a good studio, but like, no, like, I don't know if your boyfriend's gonna like you trying that.
Okay. And so amidst all of this warm glow of candlelight, we have Frankie with the pale blue light of a cell phone, and various sundry search results. When we pick up again with Cordelia, the vision is vague at first. It takes some time to settle into it. But you start with just this fuzzy image of Duke Ward and Craig Johnson sitting at a table with home cooked food in front of them. And they're idly chatting. You can tell that Duke is completely relaxed, and maybe a little excited, whereas just the vibes that you're getting from Craig are this degree of apprehension.
Okay.
So as the image becomes clearer, and as you focus in on this scene, I described before that the Ward estate had this grandiosity to it, that it had like old wood all over the place with intricate patterning. And this dining room is no exception. In fact, like there are a number, like the windows along the top of the walls have that stained glass quality to them. And in this case, there's literally like lights behind the stained glass specifically so that at all hours the entire room is able to be cast in the light of the stained glass. And and you can tell also that like this is this room looks like it's not an intimate dining room, right? This table could seat 15, 16 people. And Duke and Craig are sitting at the far end of it. And so just the large expanse of table is noteworthy. The camera kind of like goes along the top of the table to close in on them. And the first words that you're able to make, like to distinctly catch, you get the feeling that Duke isn't all that interested in this particular part of the conversation, but Craig, this is nominally the reason why he's here. And so he is trying to insist on talking about this thing. So in a rather dismissive tone, Duke kind of trying to brush off Craig's concern is like, well, no, the fact that Red Jack said that this isn't going to stop until the god of death looks forward kind of confirms what I've been suspecting anyway. It's fine. We've got it taken care of. Don't worry your pretty little head over it anymore. I've already summoned the huntsmen. They've been informed that their prey is undead. They're on the estate right now, gearing up for the hunt. That's what they're here for. That's That's the whole reason we brought them in for situations exactly like this. It's taken care of. And if they don't, if for some reason they're not able to hunt the bitch down, we'll set a trap. This Friday at the construction site, we will set a trap, and no more of our people will die, and the school can be finished. Don't worry about it. It's taken care of. You're the liaison between the Morning Stars and the wards, but you're the liaison between us for a reason. We got this. And Craig's discomfort kind of continues to be this vibe that you're feeling. I have said before that he is somewhat accustomed to doing strange jobs for the Morning Stars, and so that in and of itself is not outside of his purview, but just the sheer amount of weirdness that's going on is a little bit above his pay grade. Well, not technically, it's exactly his pay grade, but it's a lot to expect from a person, especially a mundane person with no particular abilities beyond just trusting that the people that know more than him have his, if not best interests, at least, they're not gonna hang him out to dry. And with that, Duke pats his leg and then gestures over to a, it's not a couch per se, but it's kind of an ornate two-person seat over by the side of the wall, and motions for Craig to join him on it. And Craig and Duke says, and now for we've taken care of business. It's fine. Like, I've got it all taken care of. Now let's get to the fun part. And
Don't get my sex toys. No. Sorry, it was too funny. It was too funny. That's why he has the ornate special chair, Anyways, my bad. Crack your shit up.
When he said he pats his leg, I imagined him patting his leg like, come here and sit on my lap. Anyway.
I think patting the other guy's leg is a little more fucked up, really. Don't worry, buddy. Like, between...
No, wait. Patting the other person's leg and saying, don't worry, is not as bad as patting your own leg and saying,
I'm just saying, unless they have a more enlightened culture about physical touch between men,
that's true.
Two men sitting talking about business and one reaching over and grabbing his leg and patting it, don't worry, bud, is like, that's a very intimate type of touching, and I was right there with you.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
Yes. So and there's a look that goes over Craig's face, and his mood kind of changes.
I bet there is.
And it's something that feels strange, watching this from a distance, aside from the obvious reasons. There is Craig and Duke meet each other's eyes, and there is this shift that happens in Craig that he's not afraid anymore. He's not apprehensive. Suddenly, he is completely relaxed. And Duke leans in and it looks like he's going in to start kissing Craig's neck.
Oh.
When to your vision, like in your vision, you see something that you've never noticed before, but Duke has at this moment small fangs, which he then
Yeah. You didn't get that?
bites into Craig's neck. And it's not a monstrous beating. Like there's not blood splurting everywhere. In fact, you can't, like, there's no rhyme or reason to why you could be able to tell from this vision, but this has happened before between Craig and Duke. And there's no marks that will be left. It will heal over perfectly, but it goes on for an uncomfortable amount of time.
Oh. Okay.
While we're on that, Andy, you look back up and your aunt isn't at the window anymore.
Okay.
She's just gone. Do you do
Are
anything?
the kitchen lights off?
The kitchen lights are still on.
Okay. Well, I mean, like we would know if she was in the yard, so.
Mhm.
I think for now, Andy's gonna like let that particular pot simmer. Like he's more worried about what's going on
Sure.
in here, and he's also still kind of like mulling over the weird stuff that he like was in his head.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, and
afterwards.
kind of the way that I picture that is that drumming distracted you just long enough that you're not sure when your aunt left.
Right.
And then Caulan, you're still pacing quite effectively. And Frankie,
Yeah,
you are
dancing around. I will. Part of the pacing will be keeping an eye, nervous pacing. So part of that will be keeping an eye out for like things and anything that could go wrong.
sure.
Nervous
And
pacing.
and Frankie, you've been able to hop from link to link to link. You are becoming quite well informed. Depending on what sites you're searching through, I can't say much to the specifics of the quality, but you have a lot of information. So I will say Andy and Caulan, you two would be the ones most inclined to notice this. You nice. Yes, I approve.
Okay.
A link was sent in chat to the song "Careless Whisper" by George Michael to play in the background.
Whoa. Duke leans over to Craig to give him his vampire's kiss.
Yes.
Good on
So we'll get back to that in just a sec. Cordelia, as you're watching this, you feel something pulling on the vision, pulling you away from them,
Okay.
and in a distinctly different direction. And it's weird because you're like, that's not usually how this works.
Right.
But the vision is taking you somewhere else. And still in the estate. You're not flying off into the ether, but the vision is trying to pull you into a different part of the house. And from the way the feeding is lasting, you get the impression that you're not going to miss a whole lot. Do you go with it, or do you stay?
Yeah, no, this is weird. So I think she's gonna go with it and find out what's going on.
Not watch your vampire porn.
No, I mean she'll come back to that later, I assume. But
Well, they'll be at it for a while.
right.
Okay. Caulan and Andi, since you two are have described your characters as doing things that are akin to being on watch, you both hear in the cold, dark stillness of night the back door open and close, with a degree of not like it's not shoved closed, but it's also not gingerly closed. And you hear the sounds of two people coming out through the snow. That crunching quality that I described, you hear them
Did
walking
they have
by.
like an angry mom sound to them?
It's
Like a dog hearing that noise, I will immediately, and as quietly as I can, rush over to the part of the greenhouse where I could see what's coming from that direction.
sure. Andi, what's your move?
Right.
Um,
Exactly. The dog running
Like
up to
it's
the
coming
tree.
from the back door, so Andy's gonna assume that it's his mom or aunt or somebody in the household.
I am
Um,
too mad. I broke into the fucking mayor's mansion tonight
And stole his toys.
and stole his sex toys. People saw my face.
Oh yeah, that's right.
is Cordelia like holding the box or anything? Like, or holding the toys or anything, or
Not-
can it go back on the box?
Oh,
The, the toys are in a pile in front of me, I would say at this point. There's a lot of them.
She had to play with them for a while to make sure she got them in the right position and all sorts of,
arcane
and she's
symbol.
got her notebook
Right.
in her. I made
Um,
a pentagram out of dildos.
Right.
Andy's
A circle.
gonna like. There's enough like
Play that
Um,
warding symbol to help keep the demon in.
like vines or neglected like plant matter or whatever, and like baskets and stuff. He's gonna and like he's like played with like he's not really maintenance anything, but he's kind of putzed around sometimes because he spends so much time out there.
Mhm.
And like he's like made dried daisy chains or something, and he's gonna like toss some dirt and then like put the like plant like just miscellaneous plant matter, and then put the chain like the wreath or daisy chains or whatever he's made like on top of that, so it just looks like this pile of like they're having like a really poorly recreated like seance or ritual or something that's not sex toys. And like then he's gonna like go like towards the voices, like open up like the thing and like walk out to like see who's coming down the path and whatnot.
Sure. Well, let's see how well you cover this sex toy sigil up.
Is it a keep my cool rule?
What was that?
Something else. So does this keep my cool or something else?
That is keeping your cool, which for you is a -1, which will put you at a 5. So you get
So you
experience.
didn't cover those toys for shit.
Just threw leaves on them.
Threw some dirt on them, and yeah, it didn't.
No, they're just dirty toys.
They were before.
We're getting dirt now.
Can I like I don't know flex this a little bit like since like Colin's also been like finish that. I'm gonna go run interference.
Are you going out there?
Yeah.
Well, before you get to there, should I do a keep your cool for being like quietly rushing to the thing to look out and not like expose
Sure.
myself?
Caulan, what?
Definitely don't expose yourself to her family.
Don't expose your
Family.
No, obviously, I didn't mean I was going to take my shirt off for more nipple things. I'm just going over there to not like poke my head out too far and get seen in like a fucking child looking out of the thing,
So,
You just see two eyes. It's just like
right?
if there's something else that you're afraid of, you can let me know. But it sounds like it's pretty clear. I don't want to. Like a combination of I don't want to be seen, and I specifically don't want to be seen looking like I am looking out for somebody.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Five. Oh no. It's not doing.
And with your -1, you have a 4. So mark experience.
Hey, I leveled up, and I specifically want to take the spirit armor, which is exactly very important right now. I imagine. I knew exactly what I wanted.
When bask in moonlight, any harm that you suffer is reduced by 1, and you add 2 to all rolls to keep your cool.
Exactly. Exactly.
That will not negate that roll, though.
I know. I'm very excited for the future.
I was gonna say we're gonna be rolling again here soon, I'm sure.
I am sure.
Okay. So as you guys have deduced, it is in fact Andy's mom and Andy's aunt. There's Andy, as you go outside, there's no, like they're not angry. There's not like no hostility. There is an excessive curiosity on the part of your aunt, who finds a study session in the cold of winter outside with people who didn't bother to come in through the front door. An entirely dubious proposition.
Right.
And your mother has been more nonchalant about this because you're a teenager and she already
Right.
recognizes that you're somewhat estranged and she doesn't want to push it.
Yeah.
So she has fixed a platter of meat, crackers, and cheese,
Oh.
and is bringing them out, and as a way of mitigating your aunt's desire to convince her to go see what their devil child is up to.
Right.
I will say though,
Sex toy seance.
yeah, I will add some more information here in just a sec, but Andy, go ahead and inform me of how you, like what you say or do.
Well, since they're like specifically like the coverage thing was how well did you cover, right? The keep your cool thing that I failed was that.
Yeah.
But like after failing at that, they went out the door to like meet in the path, so like to hopefully head off her even like going inside to see, particularly what we're having a ritual with. And like and I'm gonna say I still have one of the thermoses, and like it's been a while, so I finished it. So I'm gonna be like, we're doing a like historical recreation project for social studies. We had to do something like wild, and we chose,
Mhm.
that I knew it was gonna smell,
And
and like none of that's entirely like he's not comfortable lying, but like
because
other
Andy says that unprompted to them as they're walking up with food. Well, I guess I'm not a charismatic person. Never mind. Fuck it. Sorry, if it was me,
hard for you.
I would interrupt you with, "Ooh, food, thank you," like whatever, because there's nothing more suspicious than like just shouting out unprompted. No, we're doing this right now.
well, like he's specifically approaching so he's not shouting, because that's the whole thing with like
Sure.
Also, though, if your dog, like, you may not even be doing, like, you
That's
may
true.
just really actually be that excited about food.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
True.
I will. I will. Seeing that what you're doing, and see that I'll come out too and be like, "Ooh, food! Thank you very, very much," and like go to like grab the platter, and this will help.
okay.
Okay. I'm gonna change it a little bit back to like Andy doesn't like lying. He's trying to find a way to talk around it. He's gonna say like we're working. He's not gonna specify like for class or anything that would be lying. We're working on a project. We didn't want to stink up the kitchen. Thanks for the food. I was actually just coming out to get more hot chocolate. So like it's empty, and like as Caulan is like, ooh, like this is my classmate Caulan.
Bye.
And like
your mom
the
knew
thermos,
his
like,
mom, so
would you refill these for us, please, or something? Like we're in the middle of
and
like trying to play to that whole hospitality.
Your mom takes the thermos and hands them to your aunt.
Oh no.
And says, "What would you be, dear?" And somewhat begrudgingly, your aunt starts walking back into the house. And it's at that moment, Colin is holding the platter, and your aunt is walking away. That you notice quite distinctly that your mom has gotten a clear visual, like, shot of the barely covered sex toy circle, and the young woman sitting there holding her hand over it, taking notes in an apparent trance. And
Oh dear.
your mother doesn't say anything. There is just a look of not bemusement, but she's processing. And you can see the wheels turning in her head as and the strongest wheel that's turning is again that she knows that there's estrangement happening, and she doesn't like that, so she doesn't want to push it. So
At the 5th second of silence, I will break the silence by eating one of the crackers and meat and cheese while I watch her process.
And he's sitting there like, why didn't you stand just a little bit to the side to block the door? Line beside the door.
And when she finally says something, it is to the effect of, well, I'll let you get back to your studying, and we won't interrupt again. Your aunt will be out with the hot chocolate here in just a moment. And
All
as,
right, thank you.
as your aunt comes back out of the house, your mom walks up to your aunt and takes the thermoses from your aunt before your aunt can get too close. Turns around and brings them to you.
Wow.
And then
What's Andy's last name? I forget.
what?
What's Andy's last name?
Ross?
Ross.
Thank you, Mrs. Ross.
And so your mom gestures, like your aunt is standing there like not quite certain why your mom stopped her from walking the rest of the way. And so your mom gestures, go back inside, and then just hurriedly joins her inside, and you can hear them whispering as they walk through the doorway.
That was close. Like turn around and walk back in. Mop it off.
Which takes us back to Cordelia. I had mentioned that something else was pulling at you.
Yeah.
The thing that pulls at you is you find yourself moving through the house into a different wing of it. And this one is more darkly lit. It's not as bright. In fact, you get into a room where it's almost all dark, to the point that you're surprised, because with the arcane vision, you should be able to see things that you wouldn't normally be able to. Even like there is a depth to this darkness that is unexpected. And it kind of reminds you of the interference you experienced before. But you do recognize that David Ward, the mayor, is sitting at a desk, and there are several computers at that desk. And in one of them, there's a shot of Duke feeding.
Mhm.
On another, there is hidden cameras inside of the building that the militia members are meeting in. And so you're able to get just a visual image of them having that meeting. And
Okay.
they're fairly drunk and fairly disorderly, but you see tables with weapons splayed out. And some of them are rifles and handguns, and some of them are spears. Some of them are, like daggers and swords and like axes. Just a full range that looks like it would be equal parts modern militia movement and like hardcore creative reenactors.
Mhm.
And there are boards with maps on, with various markings on them. And the leader of the group, at least for this meeting, is mostly letting them be drunk, but they're discussing things. And you see just the quickest glimpse of I remember one of their names was Austin. The two fellows that Caulan, they're in the back of the meeting, drinking and not paying a whole lot of attention. So that's another several screens, and there are some screens that there's not a whole lot going on that you can decipher. There may be people doing things, but you don't have enough of a connection to identify them.
Yeah.
But the one that David seems to be paying attention to, he presses pause, rewind, play. It plays for a little bit, pause, rewind, play. And you realize that the reason that you've been drawn to this is that there is a psychic connection with what's going on on the video. You see Caulan breaking into the Ward estate. And
That, or as an alternate theory, the brothers share sex toys. One of the two.
I knew,
One of
I
the
knew,
two.
I knew that's where your mind went.
About to say, and the part where you
I
know,
was
watching
died laughing
very
when it
intimate
became
thing with some dude is.
Oh.
I don't know if you meant to imply that, but the implications came through.
Sharing sex toys.
the canon explanation that seems apparent to Cordelia is that this is a weird blend of the previous spell interacting with the highly successful additional spell.
Oh,
How-
I couldn't believe it.
However, in the after the episode on the subreddit for the TV show, that would definitely be a conspiracy theory that would be advanced by most of the fans.
Look, they're vampires. We don't know how old they are. You know, they at this point, maybe that's all that gets them off. Who knows? Into some kinky shit.
Well, to be fair,
Well,
Fair.
it's a they might not share the sex toys. They might just store their sex toys
in the
together.
same box. It's also weird.
The pink one is the fucking Dukes, and then the purple
There
one.
are actually 2 sub-containers. Didn't realize when we dumped it out.
So, but based on that video footage, you very clearly see David Ward
Right.
watching the
I
video
know.
footage, and it's like Colin's face is easily recognizable on the camera.
Yeah. So we're in fucking trouble. So
I mean,
No, Colin's in trouble. The rest of us
we're
are
with
fine.
you, so.
Well, I mean, it does it show him like the actual break-in, like climbing up and going in where he shouldn't, or does it just show him talking to the security guards?
It actually, like, the point at which he like, there is footage of him talking to the guards, but the footage that David is specifically watching is when he goes into the house.
Damn.
But I assume with all the cameras that are up, it's pretty evident that there's video evidence of him like along the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right?
falling off the lattice were
There's cameras all over the place.
although
Right?
Yep.
cool.
It was for a scavenger hunt.
The mayor's brother's sex toys? What scavenger hunt is this?
Cool one.
Steal a sex toy from your local mayor. That's normal.
Or his brother, or both.
Double points if you get one from me.
Or one they change.
At least, even though he's like cognizant of the supernatural, obviously, like I imagine that he's gonna have a hard time jumping immediately from sex toys to seance. Just gonna be sitting there going like, what the fuck kind of stupid teenager like triple dog dare was this?
Extra points for the pun.
Yeah.
Oh,
I enjoyed
I didn't
that
even
part.
get that. Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, and unless you want to push for anything else, that's what the vision was trying to show you.
Yeah.
And you can see
Got it.
on the one camera and actually you're not even sure if this is actually on the camera or if it's just your vision imposing it, so you can like stay aware of it. You see Duke feeding on Craig, and it slowly finishes up. And
This hand gesture is really telling there, Ron, by the way.
oh,
Lovely, thank you so much.
but by default, there's not a whole lot more drama. Do you want to try to linger on either of the brothers?
No, I think I'm gonna come out of the trance so I can, and then let them know that we have a problem.
Just a problem.
What do you tell us about it?
Oh, I mean, I'm just gonna tell you guys everything that I saw.
Actually, would you guys hold on just a sec? I'm gonna go check something out.
Yeah, we're
How many?
what's going on in the neighbors.
A couple of clips of scene in my head for she texts her mom saying we need to talk, and mom's all excited because she had noticed that Frankie has been wearing this ring that she said Andi gave her, and she said that means that they're a couple now, and
Oops.
and Frankie's gonna be no, this is about that. This is about me being a wish. And then you can see mom's face going from all excited and joyful to just the blood draining away. Realizes something horrible has happened.
Nice. Yeah, that one might happen sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I kind of figure she already sent the text saying we need to talk. But I'm not sure. I was thinking it probably happened at that point, shortly moments after being informed of that reality. But I may have to. That just may end up having to be a flashback or something.
Sure.
So, just like,
Okay, actually, yeah, no, that makes sense. Like, for the sake of like, since we don't know how that particular conversation is going to play out, but it makes sense that you would have texted that.
Yeah.
Was that earlier today? Like it in the
that
game?
when we were on the rooftop. When we were up on the rooftop, and Cordelia just basically pulled out the so you're this, and you're this, and we're like, what? how do you know these things about us? And it was a bit of a shock.
You guys were making plans to drop in on Duke and Craig that day or that night.
Right.
We're still
that was why we could. Yeah, that came about after we had these lovely little time bombs. We were kind of like, okay, we can't deal with that right now. We've got to do this thing. And so we all kind of put that on the side burner and have been ignoring it while we're dealing with this.
Yes. So your mom has received that text and may have even called you in response.
Of
but
course, yeah, would be ignored.
You are a little preoccupied with roguishness.
Right. Hijinks are ensuing.
Yes. Okay. So let's see. It's gonna take me a moment to center back in. Oh, where'd Olivia go?
Grabbing something real quick. She'll be right back in.
Okay.
Sorry, I have to grab a charger for
Five seconds.
my laptop. I'm back.
Okay. So yeah, I think the right before I was called away by yowling cats because I felt the need to protect one of them that we've been pseudo adopting. Cordelia had just come out of the trance and was explaining things to everybody. So you're now, as of this moment, you're all in the greenhouse. You now have a nice platter of meats, crackers, and cheese, as well as some fresh
Do we
chocolate.
feel like Colin has had that for a little while?
Yes.
I feel like we have an empty platter.
No, you still have some. That's
Okay.
just- it's not me.
Okay. But he's a teenage boy and also a wolf, so.
This is
So
the snack platter is now mostly crackers.
Right.
So how does this play out? You guys, Cordelia has some more information bombs to drop on you guys, and you all went through rather extreme measures to acquire this information. And in the process, Andy's mom thinks that you all are doing something weird with sex toys.
Yes.
So this,
Which we are.
so
But she's also like nominally a business contact for the wards and has now seen Colin's face.
yes. So how does the briefing go?
Inside and Googled like how to know if your kid is in a sex cult or something like that. Like she's just very like.
And she knows that Andy has eccentricities, and of all the eccentricities, you know, sex toys with friends
This
isn't
isn't the weird one.
the weirdest. This isn't the worst. It's not drugs.
That's a really cool fucking mom, because my parents wouldn't even let me be in a room with a boy with the door shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, you have
Colin's
to-
mouth will drop open just a little further at every like thing that she says until she gets to vampire, to which he just throws his hands up in the air. Jesus fucking Christ, it's vampires? They're fucking, the mayor is a vampire? The fucking mayor's brother is a vampire? All right, this town is crazy.
Okay.
This town. Never
What?
mind. I'm a werewolf. Fuck it. I guess that makes sense.
I think we need to prioritize the information here, though,
Okay.
because the vampires, I don't feel like are the biggest problem here. I think the biggest problem is the fact that they fucking know that you were there and they've seen your face, and also whatever they're about to hunt. Like this is
Whoever.
whoever,
Person.
whomever.
They
Yeah.
said that it was undead, and they called it a bitch.
Which has some gender implications, although not necessarily, you know.
And they said that they needed this to happen so that the school will be finished. And I don't understand how that's going to be a thing.
What was that about death looking forward?
Yeah, all of this sounds really bad with our militia on the loose too. Like,
Yeah. One thing about the connection with the school, all of the disappearances that you've been tracking are contractors or people that Craig Johnson has met with in connection to the construction site of the school.
and we know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's
so-
nothing better to put over a hellmouth than a high school.
So whoever this is that they're gonna go hunt, once they're out of the way, these people should stop going missing, is the idea.
Yeah, the implication is that whatever they're hunting is the cause of the disappearances.
But the other implication to that is the thing that they are hunting may be trying to stop the school from opening.
Right.
This kind of feels like a the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of a thing, right? Like if they're hunting this other person, maybe
We need to find the person.
that person's on our. I don't know.
We also need to, figure out what to do about Colin possibly impending criminal charges.
Look,
Right.
they can do whatever they want.
Could you get a new face?
No, I can't solve that problem. If they want to try to give me charges for stealing his sex toys, that's fine. I'll just go public with his sex toys and about how he gave a 16 or 17-year-old sex toys.
Okay, I'm thinking less about legal charges and more about the spears and axes and other weapons that they've amassed in plenty.
Well, I bet they think that I'm just a kid, so I'm not going to worry about that until it becomes a problem. I think the thing that really worries me is they've got this. This is happening Friday. What day is today?
No, they said if the hunters don't kill her, they'll set a trap on Friday at the construction site.
So we need
And
to be there for that.
That's what I
Yes.
understood.
Yeah, that's
Or
Oh,
we need to find a way to warn.
I think we need to find her.
yeah. We need to go to the school. Okay, this is gonna sound really crazy, and it's just a thing, but
So crazy.
you know, my
it
mom
just
didn't
might work.
want them to finish that school.
So I'm
She
Googling.
told me they had to stop the project, and it could have been the school that's the project. And if it's undead, it could be, I don't know, a ghost or anything like that. I got to get down to that school.
Frankie is Googling who's against the new high school in town.
Was the
Oh,
stuff
missing
that Andy has on his mom that's incriminating anything to do with the school?
Yeah.
Or was it just general shadiness, like the other things too?
The essentially the school, as based on what you guys have seen so far, the school was kind of a way of greasing the wheels of commerce. In exchange for being able to construct large industrial manufacturing buildings in the southern part of Loch's Vale, the Morning Stars were significantly contributed to the funding for the new school. Broadly speaking, what you would know is that people who are not pleased about the Morning Stars moving in would be somewhat opposed to the high school.
Right, but I'm saying like the shady thing that Andy found on the documentations, like, does that indicate whether his mom is opposed to or aligned with? Because she's had dealings with Ward, but they're like they've been sending things that are like back and forth negotiations. It's not like she's a direct.
Sure. Of the power players that we've described so far, which one does your mom most closely hew to?
Up until recently, it would have been like the people who don't like the school being built, but part of their like rising star or whatever is that they've kind of been willing to play both sides and hitch the wagon to
Okay.
some
So
of
the document.
the whole thing is like she used to be nominally friendly with Caulan's mom, you know.
Mhm.
Like had Andy thinking that she was still against that development until he found the paperwork and so like didn't know if the paperwork indicated a shift either way.
Sure. The way that I'm picturing that is that the paperwork, if you read between the lines, the paperwork basically describes a little bit of kickback for your mom's business groups in exchange for not opposing the construction of the school. So like rezoning and other kinds of bureaucratic steps that should not be made in connection to this other thing that
Right. Right, but like, had she signed it, or had she just made notes on it, like yes or no, or like?
She based on the notes, she's negotiating the details of what she and her affiliates will get.
Okay,
So
but she's not trying to mitigate any of the industrial development.
No. She is at the deal table on this.
Can a werewolf gaze into the abyss? Like, I don't know exactly how all that works, but I'm not sure. Like, here's what I'm curious about. There's this, like, the idea of this undead bitch who's messing up their construction by killing people, and he's got it in his head that what if it's his mom? So is this a moment where he might accidentally or purposefully, like, gaze into the abyss, and what would that look like for a werewolf?
It can strongly vary. The rules are very flexible. So for a Caulan, this could be anything from putting together like information that you just hadn't noticed before. So like a quick flashback of your prior investigations, like highlighting things that hadn't been the focus before. Since your part of it is about your mom, there's also, just that base instinct connection that could be triggered.
Can I roll it?
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. And do you have any moves that will affect this?
What does that mean?
What
moves can affect it? Oh, being a werewolf?
Yeah.
I don't think it's not. I mean, I guess my heightened senses don't really affect this in this moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
I don't.
Okay. I just wanted to check before we rolled.
Sure. So -1 on dark.
So you have a 6 on the die, -1 is 5.
So 5. Okay.
So basically, like, you're hearing this information and you're starting to, like, put things together. Even to the point that, like, one of the pieces of information that runs through your head was that conversation that you had with Mr. Amati at the funeral, where he said that the thing that he appreciated about your mom was that she always did what she said she would.
Sure.
And like, you start, like, there's this thing forming in your soul, and in your heart and in your mind, like, reaching for this possibility. But as you kind of, like, like grapple with this feeling that's growing in you, it gets all mixed up, right? Like, you turn inward trying to find clarity, and you're pursuing this very specific path towards that clarity, and the emotions that it pulls up are just all over the place.
It's too much.
Yeah. And as you're standing there, like, these, rather than pieces coming together, it's more like several car crashes. There's no order, there's no delineation, and it is more confusing than it was when you first started. Just mark
Caulan
experience.
will, without much outward, he hasn't really been emoting about this too much, right?
Mhm.
And expressing, but after a moment of that, like still and thinking and quiet, just out of nowhere, lashes out in anger and kicks a fucking pot across the room. One of the planted pots across the room. Just, son of fuck, god damn it. And we'll like walk out of the greenhouse and just walk outside for a moment and just fuming.
Sure. And it makes quite a racket as it smashes against some of the wooden structure that I described before. Another potted plant that was on that wooden structure, like the not even a potted plant, but just like the pot, like falls over on top of it. So there's another crash. You find that the cold of the night isn't touching you as you stand outside, and the nearly full moon is just illuminating everything such that for a moment it feels like things are as bright as day. The rest of you see Caulan like have this moment. What do the rest of you do?
I think Cordelia's gonna give him a moment and then follow him outside.
Okay. Andi and Frankie.
I think Andi is going to start kind of like tidying everything up. Like there's an old like sweep broom. And he's just gonna like prep stuff to like go and basically like make it a whole big pile out of like the runes and everything. Like he's gonna like move the candles out of the way and sweep that up, and like just everything is gonna go into the compost pile. And then like after that's done, he's gonna like go out and like very visibly like conflicted and like somewhat remorseful, be like all I think I need to like I need like we need to dig in. I'll dig into like mom's study for you or whatever. Like his like that thing that's been percolating all evening, that like his mom might not be on the right side of this, and whatnot, and like try and get some information before Friday.
Okay. And what's Frankie doing?
I just imagine her tipping over a pot to see if it helps.
Frankie's gonna kind of stand there for a minute, looking out the door where Caulan and Cordelia have walked off, with a sort of confused expression, and then look at where Andi is cleaning things up, and then kind of stacks a couple of pots together in one spot, and then gets back on her phone and starts Googling when death looks forward. Because Frankie and her phone are very good friends these days.
Yes.
Sure. Do you want to roll a gaze into the abyss on that one?
Yeah, let's give that a shot. See how
Okay.
that goes for
Let's see. You have a dark +2.
Yes.
So a 7 on the die +2 puts you at a 9.
Not too shabby.
Gaze into the abyss. Name what you're looking for and roll dark. On 10+, the abyss shows you lucid visions. Take 1 forward when addressing them. You as you're Googling and then trying to, like figure this out, the phrase seems a little off. So you start looking into, the god of death and forwards and backwards. And the information that comes up is that the planet Pluto goes retrograde for half the year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah. And so you can't quite be certain that that's what the phrase meant, but there's something about it that rings true. And specifically at this moment, based on the dates that you're looking at, Pluto is currently retrograde. And if you've been
going to any chance that the change from retrograde will happen around Friday or shortly thereafter?
It's shortly after. Yeah. Like Saturday or Sunday is when the shift happens. And yeah. So while you're coming to that realization, let's jump back outside to Cordelia and Caulan. Caulan kind of went out there in this very emotional state, and Cordelia gives him some moments and then follows. What does that look like when you do go outside?
Colin is standing, staring out into the darkness when you come outside.
Okay. Cordelia is just gonna kind of walk up behind Colin and maybe kind of like just put a hand on his shoulder and just say, "Hey, are you okay?"
Shrug it off. They killed her. They fucking killed her. And I can't, nobody fucking talk about it. Nobody fucking do anything about it. And they could be killing her again. Or I could have followed a dude who I thought was responsible for the deaths of 6 people for the last 2 weeks. And then I could go and interrupt them putting down the actual beast that fucking doing it in the first place. And I don't know which thing it is. All I know is I should be going out there and fucking taking a look at that right now. But what am I looking for? Something in a construction site? And that's just if I don't get fucking picked up by the cops in the meantime. And the only reason we're doing any of this is because none of the fucking adults in town want to take responsibility for their own goddamn actions. Fuck this town.
Yeah.
Fucking hate this place.
Well,
So you want to go down to the school tonight, or am I fucking crazy?
Yeah, let's go.
Has Andy finished sweeping to go out and talk to them about the paperwork?
I mean, this seems like a good time for you to be able to enter the conversation, though I'm not sure how enthused Caulan is about paperwork.
Well, yeah, but like my thought is, because like the backup plan was to give Mr. Ward that like folder and say that I was dropping off the notes. My thought was that like Andy's had like a satchel or something that they've been in, and he's gonna like pull it out and like look at the, like, I don't know if he's been like if Frankie's communicated like the stuff that she's found out about the god of death, like look at the dates for some of this, like when this is supposed to change hands, and look when that happens, and then like take it out to them and be like, it's like corroborating, like, yeah, we should go to the school, but there's some other stuff that we need to, like, there might be something that we can do in between then and their sites or something to look into.
What do you mean? What sites?
My mom's business office and the Ward's warehouse. They talk about some other kickbacks that have nothing to do with mom's company, but like there's more players in this, and there's a safe there. But that property's supposed to change hands, like, after the school approval goes through. So maybe there's something there.
Your instincts are telling you we should go to the school.
Yeah.
I mean, my instincts right now are telling me shit, except for I need to hunt these bastards down and kill them. But that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to murder anybody. I'm not a crazy person. I'm not going to fucking just eat people for no reason.
You're going to find a reason first, and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all I know is they're going to the school to hunt this person, right?
Yeah.
So like, maybe there's somebody at the school that knows more about this that needs to be hunted down to be asked about it. So that's my thought. If you think that we should go break into a vault somewhere, I'm safe cracking. I guess we could do that too.
My vision was in real time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they haven't gone to the school yet, so I think we should go to the school and try to get there ahead of.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's get in the car and go.
The trap that they've talked about, like not a lot was said about what the hunt itself is going to be between now and Friday. The construction site trap is Friday, so that's later in the week.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the construction site is the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, so then we have several days to get there.
Well,
But
assuming that they don't hunt down the.
Andy's proposal was like the paperwork had names of other players, so we could maybe try and like see if that was the who had and names of like people who had objected, like they're trying to negotiate with to overcome the objections. So it was like maybe trying to identify who would be on the bitches side and like how to warn them before Friday.
Okay.
So like he's on board with going to the school. He was just saying, do we want to do that before, or is that something that he should like look into for them and then come back? I'm trying to figure out whether or not to set up like an interaction or a cutscene.
My suggestion is we go to the school during the dark time.
Yeah.
And during the daytime, we try to do the social stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and given how emotionally charged it is, I easily see the werewolf wanting to go to the school construction site immediately, just to feel like you're doing something.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Right? You get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
People have paperwork and words for me and complex things that may not work. But there's a real simple thing I can do, which is walk around a construction site and feel like I'm doing something. Sniff around.
Sure. So Andy has proposed a little bit of intrigue and a little bit of research, and that's not going to happen tonight. And Caulan kind of feels a primal urge to go investigate the site where things go down. Frankie and Cordelia, do you have?
Cordelia definitely thinks that Andy's got a good idea that maybe some more research would be good, but also knows that Caulan just needs to like fucking move, like just like, and she is worried about him, like wants to keep an eye on him, and feels like if she's there with him, that she could help him from at least not doing something really stupid.
Mhm.
So she's gonna go wherever he wants to go, but doesn't necessarily think it's a good idea. Just
Sure.
thinks he's gonna go either way.
I like that Cullen has decided that whatever is scaring these people to the point where they need 30 dudes with guns and spears and swords, he'll be able to take care of
Sure.
unarmed by himself. Like, this is just the perfect 17-year-old thinking.
Right.
Yes.
I'm angry, so this will work. It has to.
Okay. So Cordelia and Colin are going to go to the construction site tonight. Andy and Frankie, what are...
Anybody else coming along?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, there was an audio glitch.
Anybody else coming along?
Yeah.
All right.
We got room in the back seat.
I was gonna say, like, Frankie, like Andy was gonna volunteer to take his car because his thinking is that, like, it might offer some sort of like cushion if you're associated
Sure.
with, you know, like
There's
his family
outstanding legal.
implicit.
That makes sense.
But he's gonna like leave the. I'm trying to decide if he's gonna like try and like play to the melodrama and like leave the business like contract in the kitchen where his mom can see.
Oh, do it.
Like, slip it back under the door.
Oh yeah, do it.
Yeah, that sounds like.
Like if he's angry enough to be that, yeah, I think he is. Like this is like detailing a whole bunch of like scurrying over the town. So he's gonna like slip that under the
Refrigerator magnet up on the refrigerator. Maybe a little note that says you dropped this.
yeah. No, he's just gonna write liar on top of it or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
But he's gonna take pictures of it before he gives it back.
uh-huh. Oh, of course.
He's gonna be a stupid thing, but he's gonna.
Sure. And I'll again throw in that those distant drum beat like starts to pick up as you guys get into the car to go to the construction site. The inevitability of their call, you can feel it. So it is 10 o'clock and a lot of us are exhausted. So I don't think we're gonna do the construction scene tonight. But I do want.
Sorry, I feel like
No, it's all good. I do want to throw in a small cutscene. And so you guys all pile into you're going with Andy's car, was it?
Yeah.
No. So you all
We're all going in Andy's car, or is it 2 separate cars? Did you want to stay away from being associated with us by bringing 2
Yeah,
separate cars?
it's a way to make sure that. Oh, sorry. What was that?
So are we taking 2 separate cars, or are we piling in the backseat of your car?
Andy's proposal was that you pile in the backseat of his, because like the idea is to
Cool.
kind of like cover your ass with some social,
Sounds good.
currency.
and if police are looking for your car for legal reasons,
Right.
that particular thing is not going to be a conflict. Okay, so you all get into Andy's car, and we get a shot of the contract with Andy's accusation written on it, and in the background we hear that familiar car peeling out of the driveway that happens every time that we see Andy's car leave Andy's mom's house. With I imagine the music also turned up, or is it not?
Yep.
Is it like this is a very emotional, so is the music not turned on as a measure of somberness, or
I'm gonna say that as a matter of principle, he leaves the audio, the stereo in his car turned all the way up, so that's just how it kicks on when he starts the car.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as we get out of the driveway, in our on, he shuts it off, very
Sure. So we'll get a scene of the car, the music has been turned down and the car is driving off.
I hear you. Sorry. My feral cat is yelling it outside the sliding door, and it sounds like, "Hello, I'm hungry. Are you in there?"
Yes.
yes.
Because I did not put out food this evening like I usually would do when I came home.
Ah. Yeah. Okay, actually, I think I'm good with that scene of the car driving down the road.
For the evening.
What was that? What was
The
it, Linda?
end scene for the night.
Yeah. I think I'm good with that being the end scene for tonight. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Very visceral approach to that, Sunday. That was good. That was good stuff.
Yes.
Thank you. I felt like I was leaning too much into the comedy. I was waiting for a good chance to really pull it back.
Yeah.
And that was a really good chance for that. So good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, to be entirely honest, as you were doing that, I had a couple moments of do I need to check in on that?
No, not at all. That's just I like getting into characters. So
It was good. It was good. Okay. So by default, we will meet next week and go from there. We will probably open up with the scene at the construction site.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, great game.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Thank you guys so much.